Hi. So this is always so much fun to do. I just did it in my Facebook group that I have, Mind Sex Mastery, and it's all about how orgasms are linked to making money. And you might think I'm crazy, but hear me out. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a tip on how you can actually improve things for yourself. So the first thing is to note that there's kind of two parts of this, and it really stems from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He has a whole chapter on the law of sexual transmutation. And the idea here is it's about more life, expression, creativity, getting those really great ideas that help you, break out of the funk you're in business or come up with the next big thing that's going to happen. And in the book, as you may know, he had interviewed 500 businessmen at the time. Yes, sorry, just men at the time. And he compulated 12 chapters all around what the themes were from each of the men. Now, if you can imagine, back in the 1920s, if a whole chapter was dedicated to the law of sexual transmutation, when even saying those words were a little bit taboo, you can imagine how important this energy is. It is your most powerful energy. It is your physical energy and your creative energy. Your creative energy and your charismatic energy. And the two combined can really help you magnify and move forward in a sophisticated way. So this is the way that I help my clients use their orgasms to help them make more money. Two parts of it. The first part is we want to use visualization going into a masturbation session. Now, typically I ask my clients to do this solo at first because then you don't have to worry about what your partner is thinking or the energy they're bringing to the table. It's all about your own pleasure. If you prefer to do it with a partner, you can as well. So what you need to do is you need to visualize what you're looking to change or what you want to have happen in your life. It can be as big or as little as you want, but it has to be something that you kind of believe. So for example, if you're looking to make $10,000 a month in your business, then what you want to do is you want to put that image in your mind, visualize what it's going to be like to make that much money, how it's going to feel, what is it going to be like to really show up with that kind of money. And then what I want you to do is I want you to just close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths before you start any of the physical touch. Then when you go into the physical touch, pay attention to any of the words or things that pop up in your head and say. Because what we're doing is we're opening, if you're into woo-woo, the third eye. But in the law of sexual transmutation, they talk about it as your higher genius with a capital G. So that means your higher self is going to be able to give you the ideas you need to move forward. But a lot of times what happens is covering up that voice is a bunch of other programming that we don't want in place. So that's the second part of this. I'm going to help you catch those things that are popping up in your head so that you can move forward in a different way and you can catch those programs and get rid of them. So you're going to visualize the $10,000 a month, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start the process of, getting comfortable, feeling yourself, but pay attention to how much. It's not just a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You want to really enjoy the pleasure and the time that you're spending. And even just me asking you to do that, to spend a little more time. Is there any voice that pops up in your head? Is there anything saying that you shouldn't be doing this? Pay attention to the voice. Keep going with it as long as you can. Stay in the moment as much as you can, because I know I'm asking you to do 2 things at once, so that's a little bit tough, but I promise it will pay off. Because what we're doing is we're catching your subconscious at work here, because your sexual pleasure is one of the most intimate ways that we can get into your subconscious. And because money and sex were often talked about in hushed tones when we were little, they are both connected, obviously, in our subconscious mind. So sometimes when you have shame around money, you also have shame around sex, and vice versa. One can trigger the other. So by paying attention here and visualizing and allowing yourself to receive that amount of pleasure, is that possible for you to do that? Or do you think, oh no, I got to go get the laundry done, or I got to go, post on a video, or I got to go, swipe some apps, or I got to go write? This is not helping me make money at all. What are you talking about? Keep going with it. Pay attention to that voice, because the whole thing about energy is it is a give and receive. And if you are always in giving mode and you're not able to receive pleasure, which is as important as receiving everything else, not being able to receive pleasure in that way means you're not receiving the money that you should be receiving. So you're probably not asking the rates you want to ask. You're probably not closing the sales you want to close. You're probably not approaching the people that you should be working with, all because there's shame tied around it. So I want you to kind of visualize, go through the motions, and as you're about to climax, think about the 10,000 you want a month. Think about how fantastic it's going to feel to do it. And the reason I get you to do that right before climax is because in climax, your mind goes blank. There is no more physical embodiment control of your body, of the sounds you make, of the pleasure you feel, unless you let your mind take over. And so if you can let yourself release and let go and just be in the moment and visualize that 10,000, you're really able to tap into that higher self, because that's when you're most open to receiving it anyway. You don't have control over what's happening anyhow. And if you are someone that does stop orgasm, if you are someone that stays in your head, that you don't fully enjoy the pleasure, then I want you to pay attention to that and write that down at the end, because that is where you need to start so that you can identify why and who told you that you shouldn't enjoy pleasure. What is wrong with having pleasure? And how do you think that this waste of time exercise, because that could be one of the labels you come up with, is preventing you from moving forward? It actually is essential that you do these kinds of things. Then after you're done, just let yourself really enjoy and relax. And you do a little bit of a meditation here, do some more deep breathing, 3 deep breaths, and just let the feeling wash over you. Feel what it's like to come back into your body, the sensation, the extra heightened sensitivity that you feel. Pay attention to any ideas that come up in this period, because what will happen is you've triggered now your higher self to tell you the answers to how to make the 10,000. So if you have an idea, go call John, because that is exactly what you need to do. And you have to do it without hesitation. You can't let your how or your subconscious mind or your patterns talk you out of this, because this is the answer you've been looking for. And it may not even seem obvious why. I have so many clients that do this and then they end up acting on the exercise and they're like, I don't even understand why I had to send that email. And then all of a sudden it triggered a bunch of other things to happen. And then what I wanted ended up being at the end of that trigger. But if they had not sent the initial email, they wouldn't have had the trigger down effect that they had. So the other thing to pay attention to is I have a client who has used this for the past 2 years, and she went from 5,000 a month, and last month she just closed out on 73,000 a month. And what she was doing is she was visualizing her next level. And when she was visualizing it, she completely stopped the visualization and completely stopped the orgasm midstream. And she did that because in her subconscious mind, it did not believe that she could get there. But because she'd been doing this exercise and she knew that this was the key to figuring that out, she had to really ask herself, where else has she been turning off pleasure? Where is she not believing that this is possible? And then she can tackle that mindset change that needs to happen and the source of it in a different way. But it might have taken us a lot longer to get there had she not been practicing this exercise. So let me know in the comments, what is it that came up for you? And I would love it if you jumped over to my free membership group. It is Mind Sex Mastery on Facebook. I'll put the link in the comments below. I'd love to have you join. Let me know you're there. I do many of these videos. I'll continue to do them here as well, but I'd love to hear from you. And if you have a particular question, let me know in the comments what it is, because I would love, love, love to answer on a live in the future for you as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.